Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. It's really amazing. So thanks to Bala Mataji, Phaniswari Mataji and all the devotees. They have been practicing the recital for like almost 2 months. Up to now 2 months, yeah. So I'll do a Mangalacharan and then we'll begin the class on glories of what we have just chanted. Sri Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So at the beginning of Kali Yuga, Narada Muni asks Narayan, so where is the place that you reside? So then Lord Hari, Narayan gives this reply to Narada Muni. Naham tishtami vaikuntha yogi nam hrudayastadha. So he says that the permanent place that I reside in this Kali Yuga is not just in some building in Vaikuntha, or not that yoginam hrudayasthada, not in the devotees or like the yogis who are exerting extreme austerities in caves, in the isolated forests and so on. I am not completely situated there. Then he gives this secret to Narada. Mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tisthami Narada, he says. That is, where my devotees comes together and sing of my glories and listen of my glories, speak of my holy name, chant my holy name. So the Sankirtan aspect, that is where Lord Hari is there. And I am very sure like Radha Giridhari have been blessed us. It's so amazing. We actually thought it will go until 7:25 or something. It was so apt that when we are saying Vanamali Gadi Sangi Sanki Chakri Sanandaki, the curtain got closed. It was so arranged by the Lord. Thank you everyone for participating in that. So what we have chanted now is Sri Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram. So before going into what Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram is and where is it in, I'll give a brief introduction about what are these mantras and all that we are getting from. So there are, as a human body that is gifted to us, because in the Saturday Satsang program I have been giving Isopanishad class, even today will come in that line. That is, one should inquire what is the purpose of their, living. Why am I here? What am I doing? And what is the purpose of human form of life? And what is the ultimate destination? Is there some reason to all of this? Or is it just some random chaos that is going on in the universe, which are said by some of the theists? But so in that aspect, so what Shastras give is that, so these are the manuals that are given to us to utilize our human form of life properly and to inquire about that absolute truth. That truth, absolute truth, why we keep on saying absolute truth is that truth which is unchanged. Whatever the annihilations and creations of the universes are happening, whatever the time, whatever the universe that you are in, this truth will not be changed. So that unchanging truth is the absolute truth. And from the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see that the truth is none other than Sri Krishna. And there are different means of obtaining that knowledge. As a human form of life, we need to inquire about that absolute truth. That is, we have to move towards. That is why when we are in the schools, they teach us this thing. Asatoma Sadgamaya. From the temporary, please lead me to the eternal Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From the darkness, please lead me to the light. And Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya. From this repeated cycle of birth and death, take me out of this cycle, basically. Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya. So, when a jiva wants to pursue this knowledge, so we are trapped. An embodied soul is what we are called. That is like how we wear a jacket. Like that, a covering is given to the individual entity called pure spirit soul. And the way it pursues knowledge is by the senses that Lord has given us. That is, Sabda, Sparsa, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. These are the 5 senses. That is sound, touch and hearing, all this. Like Sparsa is touch and speaking, all that. Like words. Sabda, Sparsa, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. Rupa means form and Gandha means smell. So, but there is one small discussion that Srila Prabhupada gives in the introduction of Isopanishad here. Just because we are given a body and we were given some senses that are coming with the body, if we try to obtain knowledge through these faulty senses, then obtaining that absolute truth is not possible. So there are different pramans or the evidences of knowledge that are there. The first one is Pratyaksha Praman, they say. That is, I see the Drishya Jagat, whatever I see, whatever I hear, whatever I am looking at. So I try to make some conclusions based on that. So then this is called Aroha Pantha also. By this I build my understanding and try to understand the absolute truth. Whether this is an appropriate way of obtaining that knowledge, then Shastra says no. And we also know from our experience, when we are driving like long drive and all, we see mirages on the road. Are they really there? No. So like that, there are so many optical illusions that our mind or like our eyes trick, and we will be falling trapped off. So that is not a proper way of obtaining knowledge. And there is another thing. I am a PhD researcher. So the second one is exactly what scientists do. This is called as Anuman Praman. That is the knowledge that is gathered through hypothesis based. That is, you put a hypothesis, okay, this might be there, and then you walk towards this. Okay, that's not that. Like you keep doing trial and error based on hypothesis way. So this Shastra says this is called as Anuman Praman. So there is an example I give in the Upanishad classes that Srivats like a lot. I'll give the same example. So what is the danger of Anuman Praman? I heard this when Radhesham Prabhu gave this class. So once in Europe, there was a time where there is this outbreak of plague. And many, like lakhs of people are dying because of this disease. So all these people were trying to identify the root cause of the disease. Where is it coming from and all? They identified a location where there is an outcome of a lot of patients with that disease, which is strongly correlated with number of cats present in that region. So they started catching these cats and massively killing cats in that region. So they did the hypothesis, and then the disease should go down, but the disease actually shot up like exponentially, and the deaths have become extremely high. So when they went back and observed what is the flaw that they did, the disease is not coming from cats, but it is coming from rats. Because that region has a lot of rats, a lot of cats are coming in. So this is what Anuman Praman is. By guesswork, if you obtain, like if you approach, oh, this could be absolute truth, this could be absolute truth, there is a, that's very dangerous. It's not an appropriate way to proceed. Then what is an appropriate way Shastra recommends is Shabda Praman. That is an unbroken chain of hearing of a bona fide disciplic succession through a Guru Parampara. That message is preserved. That's how, if you see like from Mahabharata times, you see that Vyasadev narrated Mahabharata and Ganesh sitting and writing the Mahabharata. But you never see Valmiki Maharshi narrating and Laukusha started sitting it. So Ramayana was never written down. So all these scriptures, everything were until the beginning of Kali Yuga were actually passing down through Shruti mantras or Shruti. That is by hearing to a guru attentively. That is what Upanishad means. Upanishidati. That is sitting closer to a spiritual master, you will obtain that knowledge. So Svetaswara Upanishad says this. Prabhupada repeatedly quotes in his lectures, Tad Vijnanardham sa gurumeva bhigacchetaha. If one has to obtain that knowledge, one has to approach a guru. Tad Vijnanardham sa gurumeva bhigacchetaha. If you attend the Bhagavad Gita class of Dravida Prabhu gives this explanation. So Gnanam is knowledge, but Vijnanam means realized knowledge. So for realized knowledge, it is very important to sit before a guru and attentively hear the message about the absolute truth and employ in your lives. And that's why we have acharyas, acharetit acharya. That is, they also heard from their spiritual masters and put them in their life and practice. So Shabda Praman is one of that bona fide way of approaching knowledge. And in that, as a manual that is given for the human form of life to perfect one's own life and go back to Godhead. So there are different scriptures that are given to us. In that knowledge, one of the biggest scripture that is present on the earth till now is Mahabharata. So Mahabharata or Jayam they say, original name is supposed to be Jaya. And so it consists of 1,25,000 verses that is composed by Vyasadev. Actually, Vyasa means the one who partitioned. It literally means that. Vyasa means one who partitioned. So the Vedic knowledge is a big library of so many samhitas, like the ways that we offer yajnas, all these knowledge, everything is present like a whole library. So Vyasadev, the Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa of this time, so he partitions that into 4 Vedas. So Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharvana Veda. So because he partitioned into these Vedas, that's why he got the name Veda Vyasa. So Vyas, when he partitioned that, then he also observed that most of the Vedic knowledge, there are like small excerpts of this Vedic knowledge which consists some thematic aspects and speaks very concrete things, not just about like doing yajnas or maintaining our livelihood. Not only that, it consists of the specific sections which comprises of the knowledge of what the absolute truth is, what your identity is, and all the secrets of what we are supposed to learn. So these are Upanishads. So Vyasadeva takes out these excerpts and gives us 108 Upanishads, out of which 12 or 10 or you can say principal Upanishads, and Upanishad is one of the Upanishads we are going through every week. And after that, to understand the Vedic teachings, he gave the 17 Puranas plus one Bhagavatam he'll give at the end. So he gives 17 Puranas and he writes this and he pens down this literature, the scripture called as Mahabharata Jayam. So this is called as Panchama Veda. It's the fifth Veda. It consists of all the essence of all the Vedic teachings and everything. Every character, I think there are like almost 1700 characters in Mahabharata, and every character exemplifies some teaching in one way or the other way. And in that, as I told, this is one of the vast scripture. For me, an abridged version I read in my bachelor's, in my second year of my bachelor's, and it took me like 2 years until like final year or something I read. So it's a vast thing, like you have to go so many stories and all that. So in that there are 5 principal things. If you do not have time of reading entire Mahabharata, they say Pancharatnas, the 5 gems in the Mahabharata. So the 5 gems are, the first one is Viduraniti, the conversation between Vidura and Dhritarashtra. So Vidura and Dhritarashtra are brothers, but Dhritarashtra never listens. He listens, but he'll never put anything into practice. So Dhritarashtra, his blind king, he's actually literally blind and also figuratively blind. He's blind towards the actions of his sons and the kinsmen. So Vidura will be chastising how like a brother chastises, like that. And if you read the beginning of Mahabharata, we know that Vidura is not just an ordinary person, it's Yamadharmaraj. So there is a Muni, Mandavya Muni, goes and curses Yamadharmaraj that you have to take one birth as a human form of life to understand the nuances, because he gives a wrong judgment to Mandavya Muni. So Yamadharmaraj comes as a Vidura. So he is the personification of all the dharmas. So during that time, then they put, what happens in the Narakaloka, they put another person called Arya Yama. That detail is also there in Mahabharata. They put another temporary portion, ad hoc portion this will be given to Arya Yama. So Vidura Niti is first one. The second one is Sanat Sujatiyam, discussion between Vidura and Sanat, one of the Sanat Sujata, one of the 4 Kumaras, Brahma Kumaras. And the third jewel is, you might have all heard about this, it's called Yaksha Prasna. And these are amazing. If you didn't read, please read it. It's an amazing section. So many of you might have heard the name of Dharmaraj as Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira means who has like the fixed. It has many meanings. One of the meanings is he is steady in the battlefield. That's what it means. But anyone who reads Mahabharata, Dharmaraj is the one who is so vulnerable on the battlefield. They have to like escort him, and they they keep taking him off from the battlefield when any strong opponent comes. So how he got this name Yudhisthira is, Yudhi means intelligence. His intelligence is so fixed. We know through Yaksha Prasna how he got the name as Yudhisthira. Why? Because so once when all the Pandavas, and I think Draupadi is also there. I don't know whether Kunti is there or not, but when they are near some lake, so once like Draupadi and the Nakula Sahadeva, like that one by one goes to bring some water, but one by one leaves, but no one returns back. So at the end, Yudhisthira goes and checks what's going on. So there is a Yaksha there. Yaksha is like a ogre or something. So this yaksha will be there in a very ghastly form, and there will be these dead bodies of all the 4 Pandavas and also Draupadi. I don't know whether Kunti is there or not, I don't remember. So looking at them, then he asks Yaksha what's going on. So the Yaksha will tell. So if you want, like it's not your place to come and take whatever the water or whatever the resources that you want. You need to answer these questions. If you give, then maybe they'll come back. I don't know. Like that he'll give like a question mark way. So one of the famous questions is, what is the most mysterious thing in the world? Ahani ahani bhutani, Yudhisthira gives, ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti hayamalayam seshasthavaram icchanti kimascharyamatah param. Yudhisthira says, Prabhupada quotes this in Bhagavad Gita purports. That is, like when Yaksha asks, he asks like 150 or 160 questions. What is faster than light? What is like that? There will be like a riddles. It will be. One of the question is, what is the most mysterious thing in the world? So then Yudhisthira answers it that ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti hayamalayam. Before our whatever like 30 years of our life, whatever the age that you have, you see lot of beings like taking birth and also dying. Gacchanti hayamalayam. You see animals dying before you. You see your own relatives or whoever are closer to you, close friends and all, keep going to the Yamalayam. But even though you are seeing all these deaths, seshasthavaram icchanti, you still think that, oh, I have so much time. It's not like a very like a imminent danger that I am in. So kim ascharyamatah param, that is the most mysterious thing to me, he will say. So that is, so Yudhisthira is saying there that one has to know that our time can come at any time, and we have to be always involving in these activities which perfects our life and the body that is given to us. And this body, though we keep giving a lot of discussion on matter and all that, but even then Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes this in Harinam Chintamani, that he tells that though this body is made of mundane matter, but it is a perfect device that is given to us to engage in our Yuga Dharma very well. So by engaging in our Yuga Dharma, we have to perfect our own life. So that is the third jewel, that is the Yaksha Prashna. And so the suspense of this story, that Yaksha is none other than Yamadharmaraj, who comes in Yaksha form and tests Yudhisthira. So the fourth jewel is Vishnu Sahasranam. And we know what's the fifth jewel is. Actually, fourth should be Bhagavad Gita as the order that we are coming in. So the fourth is Bhagavad Gita. Sripad Adi Sankaracharya, when he wrote on Gita Mahatmyam, Srila Prabhupada includes that Gita Mahatmyam in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. In that, Sankaracharya writes, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Pardho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat, he says. That is Sarva Upanishato Gavo. I told how that crux of all Vedic knowledge Vyasadeva gave us Upanishads. And by taking all this knowledge of the Vedic literature as a fertile cow, Sarva Upanishado Gavo, Dugdha Gopalanandanaha. The Gopalanandana Krishna is milking that cow and giving that essence. And Pardho Vatsaha, the calf. So if you go to the rural areas, they never milk cow like in the mass like milk and for selling. First the calves have to be fed and the remnants are taken and are distributed. This is actually how the milk was used in the rural areas. Unfortunately, it's being exploited now. But anyway, so here it is said that first that the Gita Amrutam, when milking of that cow is happening by Krishna, so Pardho Vatsaha, so Arjuna is that calf who is taking that Gita Amrutam, and Sudhir Bhoktaha, by that, like after taking that remnants from Arjuna, Sudhir, those people who has steady intelligence, those are taking the remnants of that nectar that Krishna is milking, and Dugdham Gita Amrutam Mahat. And we know like there are so many verses that Sankaracharya keeps on saying, like Bhagavad Gita, Kinchita Dita, Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita, Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha, Kriyate Tasya Yamena Charcha, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamade says. That is Bhagavad Gita, Kinchita Dita. If you take one drop, like one sloka, one word of Bhagavad Gita, Sushavan Prabhu tells, like every day night, like without reading one sloka, I will not go to bed, he says. So that is Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita. Ganga Jala Lava Kanika Pita. Ganga Jal is the Charanamrita of Lord Hari. In the Trivikrama avatar, when he came as a Vamana and asked from Bali Chakravarti, then he gave that 3 steps. So one of the leg, so Mahavishnu expands and then he breaks the shell of the cosmos, and the Akasa Ganga enters this universe. And so when it is entering, it touches the toes of Trivikrama avatar of Lord Hari. So it's Charanamrut of Lord Hari. So it's so respectable thing for us. So Ganga Jala Lavakanika Pita. If you are taking a small drop of Ganga Jalam, Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha, with a pure loving intention and with with that discipline. Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha, if you are doing that Archana to Murari Krishna, Kriyate Tasya Yamenatan Charcha, will you ever get an opportunity to do an argument with Yama? That means there will be no altercation of Yama. You will directly, you will not enter into that Yama planet at all. So that's what Sankaracharya says. So this is about the Gita Mahatmyam. And the 5th jewel that is there is Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram. So many, including myself, actually even Meera Mataji was saying yesterday that when we grew up, we hear MS Subbulakshmi or some a recording of Vishnu Sahasranam keep on going, and some of the thing we just recited, but many of the times we don't know what it means. I actually came to know this introduction of Vishnu Sahasranam. I went on one, I was part of this ISKCON Youth Forum. So I went to Pandharpur camp. There I heard first time Radhesham Prabhu giving the explanation of what these beginning slokas meant in Vishnu Sahasranam. Then after knowing the meaning, it means something else. So I will try to introduce some of these slokas here, what it says, and we can go through it. So as I told, how the proper knowledge is coming through through a bona fide spiritual master. So what is the means of asking that knowledge that is given in Bhagavad Gita? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshante te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshina. So the way you obtain that knowledge from tattvadarshis is tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya, by doing the pranipata and pariprasna. In a mood of inquiring, you should ask, not to test the knowledge of the speaker or to show how much you know. These are a wrong way of approaching any spiritual discourse. Pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya, by rendering the devotional service. Upadekshante te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarsinaha. So, if you take any of these instructions from these amazing scriptures we have, always there will be question-answer session it begins from. So, even in Ramayana, how Ramayana begins, Valmiki Maharshi asks Nardamani, Kon vasmin sampradan loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmagnascha kritagnascha satyavakyo drudavrataha charitrena chako yuktaha. Like the 21 characteristics he will tell, and he will ask, O Nardamani, is there someone kon vasmin sampradan loke? Don't tell me there is someone 10,000 years ago. I want to know if these qualities is present in any king who is contemporary. Kon vasmin sampradan loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmagnasya kritagnasya, like that everything, like the 21 qualities he will tell. After this, we will think of doing some Ramayana sessions. There I will go more. So that is like the discussion there. And even in the Kenopanishad, like in the Upanishads also, the disciple will ask a question. What is Brahman? What is this? What is that? Like that he asks some question. Then the Guru will speak. And the whole Upanishad goes like that. And at the end, he will tell some story. And at the end, the Guru will say, okay, this is Upanishad, he will say. So that means it also goes in terms of a question-answer session. In even in Srimad Bhagavatam, we saw how this starts with the questions of, Parikshit asking Sukadeva Goswami replying him, and also the sages ask the Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami tells, replies what are the answers. So like that there will be question and answers. So even in a Vishnu Sahasranam also, it starts with the question answers. So that is what we are chanting. So in the tune we keep on going very fast. So I'll tell what is the questions being asked. So in the beginning verses are they offer the obeisances to Vyasadev and all those all the gurus and all. So Sri Vaisampayana Uvacha. Okay, as I told, so there are these acharyas that we should follow in our Mahabharat. So there is like a Dumbledore kind of figure called as Sri Bhishmadev. So Bhishmacharya we say. So Bhishmadev his name is like Devarata. That is because he was rescued by the Lord and other things. He has the name like Devrata. And then because he takes this strong vow of celibacy, that's where he gets the name of Bhishma. And how Bhishma is one of the 12 Mahajanas that is given by Yamadharmaraj. That is, when the Yamadutas, I told you, Sakritapiyena Murari Samarcha, Kriyate Tasya Yamenam Charcha. In the Ajamila Upakyanam, in the story of Ajamila in Srimad Bhagavatam, so when these Yamakinkaras, his men, Yama gives the instructions, don't go to these people who are chanting or who chanted the name of Lord Hari, even mockingly. This Hare Krishna guy, or we take mockingly, you would say also, they are freed from all these sins that are there. So in process of giving those instructions, then Yamadharmaraj gives 12 Mahajanas. Swayambhu, Narada, Sambhu, like that he gives 12 Mahajanas names, where these are bona fide authorities of knowing about the knowledge about Lord Hari. And out of the 12 Mahajanas, one of the Mahajanas is Sri Bhishmadev or Bhishmacharya. So Bhishma is an Acharya, we say Bhishmadev also. He is so perfect dharma, he is the one of the Vasus. I gave in one of the Satsang classes about Bhishmadev on the eve of Bhishmashtami I gave. So Ashta Vasus. The Vasus are the forces that hold the universe. So there are 8 forces that holds the universe in the demigods. Out of that, one of the Vasu gets the curse from Vasishta Maharshi and comes as Bhishmadev. And so Bhishmadev is so perfect in engaging in the principles of the dharmas that are given. So there is this saying, this is not there in Mahabharata, it comes from some adjacent Puranas. So when Bhishmadev, after Santanu Maharaj passed away, because of his duty as his son, he is giving the Pitrukaryas, they put Pindodaka, rice balls they feed to the ancestors who passed. So because Santanu Maharaj is also very exalted personality. I told his story, how he came as Santanu Maharaj. He is Mahavishaka. He is one of the great kings that he can, with his body itself, he used to go to Brahmaloka and all that. So Santanu Maharaj, after he passed, when he was doing this Pindoga Kriya, Bhishmadev is doing, so Santanu Maharaj directly comes in a personal form with a body and all. And he says, "Oh my son, dear Bhishma, you just give me that pindam, whatever you are offering, I'll just eat it here." Though the form of his father is appearing before him, Bhishma will not give that rice ball, whatever the offering to that him directly. Because there is whole procedure that you have in the Pitrukaryas, where you have to send to the ancestors, and then it is distributed to 3 or 4 generations and so on. There is so he perfectly follows. So then Santanu Maharaj says, you will be called as Bhishmacharya from now. So like that, so Bhishmacharya. One of the test that the body gets, that is given from the Shastras is, I don't know which Upanishad it is, it says that at the time of death, when the soul is being detached from the body, you get pain of 40,000 scorpions biting in a point of skin. So there is that 40,000 or 60,000 scorpions, if they bite at one point of skin, how much pain it will be, that much pain a soul experiences when it is being detached from the body forcefully. So this is a test. Anta kalechu mamyeva smaran muktva kalevaram. Next one. Huh? Okay, there will be 3 verses. What Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is, so at the time of death, whatever the state of consciousness or the thoughts that one has, based on that the next birth is given. Now, if we see the acharyas like Bhishmadev, Bhishmadev is on the arrow bed when he is speaking this. Many people in the movie show arrow bed means nicely it will be like a, like a twin bed, like metal frame, and Bhishmadev will be speaking and speaking. It is not like that. So arrow bed is like his body is stitched with the arrows by Arjuna. That means he can't even move his head. So in that state when he is there, what he speaks is, I told you there are 125,000 verses of Mahabharata. Out of Mahabharata, 30% is Bhishmadev speaking dharmas itself. There are like 30,000 verses Bhishma speaks about what is the dharma, ragnihi dharmini dharmishta, pape paparata sada, rajanam anuvartante yada raja tada praja. He gives raja dharma because just winning the war is not enough. The dharma has to be established when Yudhisthira is taking the throne. So that's why Krishna brings Yudhisthira with all the sages, all the Pandavas, and comes to Bhishma. He says that this is the person who is the embodiment of all the dharmas that you can learn. Go and learn whatever he teaches at the in his last days. And another thing is, Bhishmadev is very well cognizant of the state of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. In the Bhagavatam also this verse says, Yeshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayano Harihi. When he is speaking to Yudhisthira, he tells, your friend who is there with you, he is Yeshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayano Harihi. He is none other than the Adi Narayana, the source of all Narayanas. And he is actually Gudas Charati Vrishnishu, he will tell in that verse. That is, he is like in a very concealed form. He is going as like a Vrishni king, but the one who is standing before you is none other than the Adyo Narayano Hari. He is the Adi Narayana, he says. So, what I wanted to say is, like at the time of death, like how Bhishma fixed his mind on the like Krishna, and whatever he spoke is about the glorification of the Lord, is one lesson that he is teaching to us. And another contemporary that we saw similar behavior is Srila Prabhupada. At the end, like when Srila Prabhupada is like completely bedridden, so he has nothing else but bones and the veins. So his veins are actually resting. Usually we have like the muscles to hold these, and then there will be bones to give some structure of the skeleton. But at the end, when Srila Prabhupada is on the bed, the veins are directly resting on the bones. So the doctor said it is such a painful state. But if you see Srila Prabhupada, he will be correcting the translations of Srimad Bhagavatam and all that. So one lesson these Mahajanas teach us, is Bhagavatottamas teach us is, we need to have that state of mind at the time of leaving our body. And the way we get that Narayana Smriti, Ante Narayana Smriti, there is a verse. And how we get that state of Ante Narayana Smriti state is through whatever the life that we are going through, whatever the busyness that we have, whatever the ups and downs we are going through, we should always chant the names of Lord Hari. And by being in that connection with the Lord, with our thoughts and with our actions. That's what the last verse that you chanted. What is it? Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. By our words, actions and words I told, right? Our bodily duties, whatever we are doing, kayena manasa, in the mind. Also, whatever we are doing, everything should be centered around the Lord. When you are engaging your life in this way, then Ante Narayana Smriti is like a byproduct of that. We don't need to put so much of loudspeakers of kirtans and all. But the way we have to traverse is through this way. And at the like these are the question. Now in that line, so Yudhisthira is asking these questions. Shrutva dharman aseshena. I told you, like after hearing 30,000 slokas of all the dharmas about how to live the kingdom, how to properly tax the people, not like overtax them, how to conquer other things, he gives in a very nice way. Do not like just go conquering other kingdoms out of your whim and all these things. Like how people should be, all the practices, how you should encourage, all that he gives. After listening those, Shrutva dharman aseshena pavanani cha sarvasaha Yudhisthiraha Shantanavam Punarevabhya Bhashata. He came to Bhishmadev and he asked these questions again. What he asked? Yudhisthira Uvacha. He asked this following question. Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Out of all the gods, who is the Daivatam Loke? Who is the god of all the lokas? Loka comes from the word look. That is exactly the English word also. Look is the Sanskrit dhatu. Look means that which is observed or which is revealed. So Shastras are also called as lokas. So Kimetam Daivatam Loke Kimva Pyekam Parayanam. Who is that one personality that we can do Parayana? Ayanam means journey. Parayana means spiritual journey that I can do through whatever the practices that I am doing. Stuvantah kam, to whom I have to worship. Kam archantaha. Stuvantah means glorifying him, and archana, to whom I have to do. And by doing that, propnuyur manava subham. All the auspiciousness bestows to the living beings. And see the questions he is asking. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramomataha. Of all the dharmas that are there, ko dharmas sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramomataha. Of all the matas, religions that are there, schools of thoughts that are present, what is the supreme thing that I can follow? Kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. And by performing which japa, that we will jantur janma samsara bandhanat muchyate kim japan, like you will be freed from this animalistic cycle of birth and death by doing whose japa, that he is asking. So Sri Bhishma Vacha, so Bhishma is answering these questions. Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purusha Satatottitaha. Here he says there is Jagat Prabhu, Lord of the Jagats, and Devadevam is the God of all gods. Supreme Person of God, it comes from here. Purushottamam, he is the Supreme Purusha. Stuvan Nama Sahasrena, with these thousands of the names of Lord Hari, Purusha Satatottitaha. Satata Uttitaha means by getting up. So what is that getting up means? By making endeavor in whatever the practices that we are doing. Not like just doing. There are indirect ways of getting Sukurti. Unknowingly tasting prasadam, hearing kirtan, these are without our consciousness itself, we will get sukurti and get the mercy of the Lord. But satatotitaha, we have to like do by whatever the endeavor that we can do. So the why this is given is because like of all the means of approaching Lord, so the greatest way of approaching Lord is through love. And what is love towards God? That is, service is expression of love. That's why Srila Prabhupada, whenever he is translating Bhakti, he never wrote devotion. He wrote devotional service. Without service, there is no meaning of love. One of the example that very striking for me is when a young mother is taking care of the baby. You know, like how she takes care of the baby. She just doesn't, like if the baby is crying, she won't sit and, oh, I love you, like that. She keeps on not repeating that. That will not solve the purpose, right? So she has to feed the baby, clean the baby, bathe the baby. So the services what she is doing is the expression of love. And that is the way a jiva should approach Lord. By performing like endeavor of that bhakti devotional service, we have to do. There are so many ways that one can do that. And this Yuga Dharma, especially Vishnu Sahasranam, emphasizing the chanting of the names of the Lord. And when you chant the name of the Lord, Krishna, though we may not perceive in his contaminated state, he is right there Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha in the Agni Puran and Padma Puran verses says that whenever anyone who is taking indirectly the name of Lord also, Lord Hari immediately says, it's like, hey Alexa or hey Google, how can I help you? How it comes? Like that, hey Krishna, like that when you are saying, or Hare Krishna when you are saying, Lord immediately is listening to you. With that faith and consciousness, we have to chant the names of Lord. And Satatotitha is that's why. Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam. So to him we have to do archayan nityam bhaktya purusham avyayam. So to that non-depleting Lord who is infinite Lord, we have to execute this bhakti. Dhyayan stuvan namasyamscha. By dhyayan, by meditating on him, by glorifying him, and namasyamscha, by offering the oblations. Yajamanah tamevacha. If you are this smartha who is performing all the yagnas, the one who is the reciprocator of that yagnas, come to next Saturday. I will speak about the mantras of Upanishad. In that there will be this Vayuranilam amrutam atedam bhasmantam sariram om krato smarakritam smarakritam smara. In Upanishad, this is the prayer that gives. That is, O krato, the supreme beneficiary of all the practices, and that bhokta is Krishna. O krato smarakritam smara, please remember all that I have done. This is at the end the prayer is given. So in that, he is the Yajamanas Tamevacha. He is the receiver of all the offerings that you are given. Anadinidhanam Vishnum. He is the one who is without beginning. Sarvaloka Maheswaram. He is the Lord of all the lokas. Loka Adhyaksham Stuvan Nityam Sarva Dukkhatigo Bhavit. By doing these practices, you will overcome all the miseries or whatever you have. And Brahmanyam Sarvadharmagnam Lokanam Kirtivardhanam. He by coming into the lokas, he actually increases the glories of the lokas. Lokanadam Mahadbhutam Sarvabhuta Bhavodbhavam. From him all the bhutas come in. Yadbhaktya Pundarekaksham Staverachan. Paramam yo Mahat Tejaha. He is the supreme of all the tejas. Paramam yo Mahat Tapaha. Of all the persons who is doing tapas, greatest of the tapasyas, he is the Paramam yo Mahat Tapaha. Paramam yo Mahat Brahma. Paramam Yah Parayanam. He is the supreme, then supreme. All the superlatives were used here. Pavitranam Pavitram yo. So that's why the priests, when they are doing apavitram pavitrova sarvavasthangopa gatopiva yasmaret pundarikaksham sabahyabhya tarasuchi. Even when you are meditating on Pundarikaksha, the lotus-eyed Lord, sabahya abhyantara suchi. Internally and externally you will be purified, whatever the state you are in. So he is the purifier, supreme purifier. Pavitranam pavitram yo. Out of all the pure things, he is the purest one. Mangalanam cha mangalam. Of all the auspicious things, he is the most auspicious one. Daivatam devatanam. Of all the gods, he is the god of them. And bhutanam yo avyayah pita. Of all the bhutas, he is the supreme father. That is what it says. Yata sarvani bhutani bhavantyadi yugagame yasminsya pralayam yanti punareva bhi yugakshaye. At the beginning, from whom all the eminent, like all the bhutas and everything came from him. And yata sarvani bhutani bhavantyadi yugagame. And after the pralayam, everything goes in him. To that supreme Lord, I offer my obeisances. In Potana లోకంబులు లోకేశులు లోకస్తులు తెగిన తుది అలోకంబుకు పెంజీకటి కవ్వాలడ ఏకాకృతి అతడినే సేవింతుని. says that is this actually. That is after like beyond the creations and annihilations, there is one supreme being that is there, where the origin of all the beings are coming and who is are going back, and to him I am offering my oblations. And tasya loka pradhanasya jagannadhasya bhupate Vishnurnaama Sahasrame Srunupapa Bhayapaham. So to that supreme Lord, these 1000 names of Vishnu, I am going to tell you, it will remove all your fears. The reason why it is because Yudhisthira will not stop crying after winning the war. He thinks that only because of him everything is happening. He keeps on crying, faints, like everyone will get, like wake him up. So Bhishma is also consoling. Like chant this, you will be freed from all the fears. Yane namane gaunane vikhyatani mahatmana. The names that we chanted. So there are these 1000 names of Vishnu comprises of different moods and energies of Lord. Like there are if you are strong, like Nityagnihotram, if you are doing all this Vashatkara, Vashatkara means one who the fire of the yajna which takes the offerings, that is the Vashatkara. So all these names will be very formal. Those are there, and those who are like meditating on, like say Narasimha form or any Leela avatars or Guna avatars, like Narasimha Vapusriman Kesava Purushottamaha, like that. And even if you are approaching with like a pure devotee, like Mahaprabhu's names will be there. Sanyasakritya Mahashanto Nishta Shantih Parayanam. The Lord who came in the form of a sannyasa. There is no Vishnu's form with sannyasa. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is Suvaranavarana Hemango Varangaschandanangadi, like that. Anything, Yani Namani, this Namani, Gaunani, his gunas are also there. Vikhyatani Mahatma, there are innumerable things of this. Rishibih Parit Gitani Tani Vakshami Bhutaye. Again is following the proper Sabda Praman. These are not just I made up on this arrow bed. These are Rishibih Parigitani. These are constantly chanted by Rishis. Rishi comes from the Dhatu Rish. Rish, Darsh means who saw what you did not see. That means the truth seers. So that is, those are rishis. So these rishis parigitani tani vakshami bhutaye. And Rishir Nama Sahasrasya Vedavyasa Mahamuni. Even Vedavyasa, when he crafted into nice Anushtup Chandasu, here, Chando Anushtup Tada Devo Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. So when he crafted nicely in this Anushtup Chandasu, he also heard from these rishis about these 1000 names. There is also secret in this. Any mantra to become effective, there should be three things. One is Rishi, one is the Chandasu, and the third one is the Adhisthana Devata of the mantra. So in this verse, three will be given. Rishiranama Sahasrasya Vedavyaso Mahamunihi. Like how Gayatri mantra was, activated by Vishwamitra Maharishi. Like that, by hearing from the rishis, Vedavyasa gave this Mahamantra, this Vishnu Sahasranama mantra, and Chanda, Anushtup Chandasu he gave, meter he gave. And what is Adhisthana Devata? Devo Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. Devaki Sutta, Krishna is the Devata that is being said here. And like that, the Vishnu Sahasranam goes. So, the last in the Dhyana slokas, I will tell in Dhyanam what we said. The other things you can understand, but because we are living in San Diego and many times we visit beach, so there is one verse which my friends know, I always tell them, like whenever I go. So, Kshirodanvat pradese suchimani vilasat saikate moktikanam mala kluptasanasthas patigamani nibhair moktikair manditangaha shubhrairabhrairadabrairu parivirachitais muktapiyushavarshaihi anandinah puniya darinalina sankapanir mukundaha. This is the Dhyana sloka. So he is meditating on the form of Vishnu. How he is now? Kshirodanvat pradese, on the shore of a milk ocean. Kshirodanvat pradese. Udanvat means ocean. Kshira means milk. Suchimani vilasat saikate moktikanam. If you go on Pacific beach, like you will feel a lot of rocks in the sand. But that sand, what they are describing, is Suchimani, pure jewels are embedded in that sand particles. So like white crystal gems are there as the sand. Saikate Moktikanam, the Saikata manis are there with different things. And Mala Kluptasanasthas Patikamani Nibhair Moktikair Manditangaha. So even the throne where Vishnu is sitting, and on the Vishnu is garlanded by these pearl and pearl studded necklaces. Even in the thrones are also like this. So it's all shining with, and these are all reflecting the milk ocean also because it's pure white. Then Shubhrai, pure. Shubhrai, Rabhrai means clouds. Adabhrai means continuous clouds. Surfaced, Upari Virachitair Mukta Piyushavarshai. They surfaced over this Vishnu and Piyushavarshai. They started showering the rain of nectar. Piyusha means Amrutam. So nectar is also without any contamination. So because there are Saikata manis and because all the garlands of pearls are there, these transparent beads of rain of Piyusha coming from this the clouds, it's like he is being bathed with pearls. So that is the darshan he is having. And Anandina Puniyat Arinalina Gada Senka Panir Mukundaha. That Mukunda with Senka, Gada, all this, let this form by looking at this form, meditating on this form, gives me bliss and let it purify me. Puniyat. So this is the Dhyana Sloka. Like that, all the Dhyana Slokas are different Vishnus, whatever you want to have. So those are given. And so one of the main things that given by Vishnu Sahasranam, without saying this, I cannot leave you. So this is very, very important. So like, because you can see it's not that easy to chant Vishnu Sahasranam. When like there is a Upanishad called as Kali Upanishad. When who is asking Kali Santarana? Narada is asking with Brahmaji. Because we have so many yugas and still we are taking birth, means how many vasanas we have. So with these many sinful reactions, is there any hope for the people of Kali? Is what Narada asks Brahmaji. So Brahma gives that Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga, like how the Yuga Dharma of Treta Yuga is, Satya Yuga is Tapasya. That's why any story, if you know it is coming from Satya Yuga, this king will live for like some 50,000 years. Only first 100 he will have some marital efforts like children and all. Then he will leave the kingdom and then he'll go and do tapasya. So that is a Yuga Dharma of that Krita Yugam, Satya Yugam. And then Treta Yugam is Yagnas. That's why throughout Ramayanas there is always some Yagna going on. Even for Meghanath to get powers, he will do some Yagna. So the Yagna is the Yuga Dharma of Treta Yuga. So even when Vishwamitra is taking Ram is to protect for the Yagnas. So the Yagna is the Yuga Dharma of Treta Yuga. And Dwapar Yuga is deity worship. So that's why when they are doing these excavations or whatever explorations of Dwaraka, you can see many of the temples that are coming from. So the deity worship. So like that, for Kali Yuga, what is the prescribed thing? He is chanting the names of Lord Hari. Repeatedly, Hare Ranama, Hare Ranama, Hare Ranama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyadha. If you say anything in Sanskrit 3 times, that means it's like a very unforced one. That's why when we are trying to chant like Vanamali Gadi Sangi, we chanted 3 times, and also this one we chanted 3 times. Now I'll tell another personality who said 3 times. Now I'm going to say that. So now we saw how it is not very easy to chant this. So Parvati Devi is asking, Kenopayena laguna Vishnurnaama sahasrakam Pachate panditair nityam srotamichhamyaham Prabhu. Oh Prabhu, she is asking Lord Shiva. You know, Panditas will chant this very effortlessly. But is there any shortcut? Kena upayena laguna. Laguna is a shortcut for this Vishnurnaama sahasrakam. Because Panditas are chanting without any effortlessly. What about the common people? Then Ishvara Vacha Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Oh Varanane, oh Devi. So Shiva is saying, what is saying? Sri Rama Rama, Sri Rama Rama iti Rame Rame. Even I also get absorbed in Sri Rama Rama, Rama 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 Rama. If you chant the Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane, one name of this Rama is equivalent to 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Another Upanishad also says that chanting one name of Krishna is chanting like 3,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So like that, every time we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I'll tell you another secret. Sri Rama Rama, Rama 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 is there, right? If you see Hare Krishna Mahamantra also, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, again Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare Hare. Like that every word of Hare and Rama and Krishna is repeated 3 times. So this Mahamantra, there are so many secrets in this. So that is there. And like how I told, Sohameke, even in the Bhagavanu Vacha, Yomam Nama Sahasrena, Stotam Ichati Pandava, he's saying to the Pandavas, you know, Soham Ekena Slokena, Stutayevana Samsaya. If you are in difficulties, if you are in any of the problems, Ekena Slokena, if you take and chant also, it gives full effect of chanting the name of Lord Hari. So with this, I will conclude today's class. Thank you so much for sitting this much time. And yeah, so one of the like by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you know, like Srila Prabhupada, we were given like beads. If anyone wants, we have beads also. It takes just 7.5 minutes a day to chant one round. So make it as a habit, like how he told Satatotita, like make an effort, like, okay, I'll chant 1 round per day, like that you can take, and make chanting as a regular thing that you do. So that's all. Thank you so much. 8:15 darshan will be there, and we'll serve nice prasadam. Thanks everyone for organizing this thing. I'll just give credits. One thing is, when I'm speaking about Satatotita, one thing I should give is all the devotees who made so much effort, and I will also credit my dear friend Prakash Prabhu also. Yesterday he was in my home. He's practicing these verses till 1:30 at night. He didn't let me sleep also. So yeah. So that is the endeavor one must take when you are trying to say something. He was explaining why it is difficult for him. Like there are some syllables like ha and some words like na or something, different sas are not there in Tamil language. So is that much endeavor. And also all the Matajis also, where they are meeting on Zoom and like practicing this. Thank you so much for all your efforts and all. So that's all. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
बहुत ज़्यादा